Welcome back. This is Newsfile, your most authoritative news analysis show. And I still have loads of your comments, particularly with regards to the demolishing at Mensa Guinea and also the assault on journalists. And Koku is asking the question that, so let's assume that journalists are incompetent, insensitive, and even had the upbringing of stray dogs. So what? Should we also assault ministers or public officials like Oko-Vanderpoy, whom many consider hopelessly incompetent? That's a question there. From Elvis Darko, he says the editor of the Ghanaian Lens was at the NHIS office days earlier and confirmed to Kaba on his show that the NHIS officers were using Goro boys to take bribes from people. And that's what led to the people's concern, leading today calling on our dome to go to come there and see things for themselves. Roland Mensah says, Samson, okay, that's all right. Koku says he doesn't need this doctorate. So, guys, just stop talking about this one from also Nana Kwesi Awere says that, Sylvester Mensah, a headless picture. Why? Why is it a biology exams? And then, okay, guys, let's move on to the next issues because we have very limited time to deal with them. As we know, we start with you, Nana Kumia. Alan Chirmanting launches his campaign this very moment. We understand. Osea Meya, one of the contenders, has conceded. He says that he's not going to the 18th October, delegates conference to have, one of them elected to become the flag bearer. Why is Nanado, making Osea Meya so important? That's a question someone asking. He says that Osea Meya quitting will help his campaign. Why is he making him so important? Because as far as people know, it's a race between Nanado and Alan Chirmanting anyway.
Thank you, Samson. Let me wish Alan Chirmanting, my senior colleague, well in his launching of his campaign for the October 18th contest. I would have wished, really, if he didn't ask me for my opinion, but if he had, I would have told him that I believe that he shouldn't proceed. That at this time, what the party needs is for all of those who contested Nanado the last time to step down and back him, because the odds against them are so huge. If
the last time was a selection, shortlist to 5. It was not a contest. So what's this, like they say, ugly pressure to get him to back down?
There's no pressure at all. Indeed, other people have backed down. They know it's a selection, but they have backed down because they are looking at the reality of it.
They had insignificant votes, and they know they don't really amount to much in the race.
All of them had insignificant votes. That is the matter. All of them. 7 of you, when they combine your percentage of 6, it amounts to 1/4 of what the leader got. With these odds, is it prudent to proceed? So, for me, I would have advised all of them, and I congratulate those who have looked at the reality of the results and have stepped aside. With this, on the specific matter of Osea Meya and Nanado, I think that Osea Meya went to Nanado's place to formally concede and withdraw. I don't believe the others who have stepped aside, Mr. Joe Gatti, they went to Nanado's place. They just issued a statement or made public announcement. But Osea Meya went there. So it was also appropriate for Nana Akufo-Addo to acknowledge it and to make some remarks. But the importance of Osea Meya pledging to support Nanado is not even in the numbers, but in the resources, because if Osea Meya was to proceed, he was going to expend a lot of resources in canvassing among 140,000 delegates. If he even brings to the Nanado campaign half or even 1/4 of those resources, that would be immense support. And I suspect it was in that context that Nanado was speaking.
Aside that, the General Secretary, Kobne Japan, and Professor Michael Quay, who is part of the legal and constitutional...
He's the chairman.
Chairman of the constitutional team, you know, had this tango, and it doesn't seem to be getting, you know, any, you know, nice. The committee allegedly had a meeting and came out with certain conclusions and decided that the General Secretary or the executive should reverse the decision to ask Perry Okujato and Mr. Hammond to go on leave or to just vacate their offices.
Yeah.
Kobne Japan says they have no business in doing that and he will not respect it.
Well, you've written in the guideline that you've put on our table that NPP General Secretary rejects legal committee report, and you have the needless belligerence or necessary cure for uninvited administrative interferences. Well, the point of the matter is that the elders, Council of Elders of the party, invited an opinion from the legal committee of the party. But you see, beyond the Council of Elders inviting an opinion from the legal committee, if you look at the NPP constitution, which I have in my hand, and you look at the committees, the section under the headquarters organization, talk about the committees. Page 40 specifically of the NPP constitution. Could you have a copy?
Sure.
Page 40. Page 40B talks about the constitutional committee. And let me just three short paragraphs.
You're talking about Article 9B.
Yes, that's Article 9B, page 40, says that the Constitutional Committee shall consist of a chairman who shall be an eminent jurist and 6 other members, all of whom shall be appointed by the National Council. Then it goes, the Constitutional Committee shall advise the National Council and the National Executive on matters relating to the smooth operation of the party's constitution and shall assist in the resolution of any conflict that may arise between the various organs of the party in the implementation of the party's constitution. And then goes on. The Constitutional Committee shall submit to the National Council and the National Executive Committee any proposals it may have for the development and the implementation of the party's constitution. These two paragraph 2 and paragraph 3 sums up the work that the Constitutional Committee has done. It says that they shall advise the National Council on any matters relating to the smooth operation of the party's constitution, and they shall assist to resolve any conflict that may arise between various organs as far as the implementation of the constitution is concerned. It says that they shall submit their advice to the National Council and the National Executive Committee. So even unsolicited, in my view, even unsolicited, if there's any conflict regarding the constitution between any organs of the party, it is the duty of the Constitutional Committee to proffer a legal opinion to the National Council and to the National Executive Committee. But in this instance,
whether invited, referred to them or not.
Or not. Once there's some, and nobody would deny that there has been conflict among even the members of the steering committee, the functional executive, as to the functions and so on of various officers. There has been, and that conflict has played out in the public domain. So nobody would deny there has been conflict in the interpreting the Constitution. And they have the constitutional mandate. It says that they shall, when there's any conflict, they shall give an opinion. In
you have read that. You have read that. Yeah. James, I mean, you have also looked at the particular provision that he's reading.
He sees my and refused to let me develop my point.
Just hold on. Just hold on. Now,
this
James,
is not offensive conduct.
James, I think that you will look at the operational words or phrases in that provision to be advice, assist. Kobne Japan, is he right by saying we don't want your unsolicited advice?
You see, one second. He may not. You see, the Constitution doesn't say that the report should even be submitted to the General Secretary. Submitted to the National Council and the National Executive.
Yes, but
Committee.
the point is that he has taken a decision.
Yeah.
And that decision is being contested.
Yeah.
And now this legal advice has come.
Yeah.
He says this is unsolicited. And even so, if it were solicited, it is only advisory. James.
I'm saying that the report should go to the National Council and the National. So they have to pronounce on that advice.
Okay, never mind.
But
he says he doesn't need that advice.
lies Kobna Japong's charge. Kobna Japong is saying that, first of all, the advice, or if you like, the opinion of the legal committee was unsolicited. That argument may fly in the face of the
what I've read to you.
Clause B
and C.
2. Clause B 2. And even
that
if
the committee is required
the committee shall advise the National Council and the National Executive Committee on matters relating to the smooth operation of the party's constitution.
Right.
Well, so that argument may fly in the face of this provision. But if you consider the fact that after the committee has, of course, rendered an opinion, it ought to submit that opinion to the National Executive Committee and the National Council for deliberation, then Kobna Japong has a point there. Because it appears the opinion of the legal committee was not submitted to these two bodies.
How do you know?
No. But Kobna Japong makes that argument.
It's flying in the media.
He makes that argument, and he is the general secretary of your party. And so if there is any communication whatsoever to the National Council or the National Executive Committee, you'd be the first to know. And so I am tempted to think that he has a point there. And that, for me, is a violation on the part of the legal committee itself. It appears there is some clear strategy on the part of some of the party structures to undermine the leadership of Mr. Paul Afoko and Kobna Japong. And that, for me, is unfortunate because the NPP is a party which likes to, of course, hold itself out as a political party which has a deep-rooted democratic principles, of course, at the back of their operations, and even generally, that has been the perception they have tried to create within the period. And so with these violations, for instance, it has been alleged by some that Kobna Japong and Paul Afoko, in taking that decision to relieve Pero Kujeto and the other of their duties at the headquarters, had violated the Constitution. But look at the way and manner the legal committee too has acted. Clearly, they have decided to shelve the Constitution and serve their political masters. That is an unhealthy development in the NPP. And for me, as an objective, of course, bystander, it is worrying because we want the NPP to be democratic enough because it claims to be a government in waiting. If it is a government in waiting, it must be law-abiding. But Sami, having said that, the most important issue we need to raise here is the cracks which have emerged within the NPP over the period, and whether or not the NPP is able to mend those cracks after their October Congress. Nana, of course, Akumia and others think that, look, all other candidates should throw in the towel in favor of Alanchire Manting, and that those who want to save money and so on are the ones who have come out to say they would support Nana Addo in his candidature. But listen, starting from 92.
Well, Osayamia doesn't say he does it because he wants to save money. He says, and I quote him, given that the super delegates may have been guided by the opinions of the 141,000 delegates before deciding to opt for a candidate with overwhelming support, the first phase of the process may well be a reflection of the bigger electoral college come October 18, 2014. And so, to go contrary to this overwhelming decision of the majority would be to betray the unity path that the whole party paid for us. With this, I have no other choice than to look at the interests of the party, than at my own interest.
Samson, the framers of the NPP party constitution clearly laid out certain procedures for the election of the party's flag bearer.
Right.
And as part of the procedure, the constitution stipulates that whenever there are more than 5 candidates vying for the position of flag bearer, they would hold
An electoral
a
college.
special delegates congress
Select.
to prune down the numbers to 5. And so if the numbers have now been pruned down to 5, why should somebody like Osei Ameya, with due respect to him, put up such an argument that he is opting out in the interest of party unity? Why would the October Congress undermine party unity when it is sanctioned by the party's own constitution? That argument for me is illogical.
I see.
Except
Okay.
to say that there are, interest groups and cracks within the party which needs to be amended if the NPP is to be competitive in the 2016 elections. I don't see that happening because entrenched positions have been taken within that party.
Okay, before I move on to Kweku, Nana, briefly, he's saying, and he used the words, the leaders have shelved the constitution and they are seeking to, do their own things. This is the point that Dr. Arthur Kennedy has been hammering, that you ought to be respecting the constitution, and that's not working. It looks as if some people are bent on undermining the new administration.
I was looking at my brother Agaga's face as he was going on and on. He himself doesn't believe what he's saying. Because
My goodness.
it's just
let that should retract.
he's just,
No, this is offensive
Can I-
content.
can I-
Let him retract.
the man is a deputy interior. Are you deputy interior or something?
Is the
So he's going to call the
minister.
police on. But you see, something, we're talking about violating the constitution. I have read the constitution to you.
Agaga is saying that it ought to have been submitted to
where?
to the National Executive Council, and Kwabena Japan would have been the first to see that. That hasn't happened.
Kwabena Japan has not told anybody that he hasn't seen the reports.
Then why is he against it?
Yeah, he's saying that the people don't have. He said that it's just advisory.
No,
and that we
no,
should ignore
no,
it. He doesn't agree with the report. He hasn't said that he hasn't seen the report.
Can I help him?
Yes.
Okay,
Can I help
what
him?
are
Yes.
we
Read Kwabena.
This is Kwabena, the General Secretary who has been, and he's been quoted at loggerheads with a section of the National Executive of the NPP said, and quotation open, publication of this unsolicited opinion on a purely administrative matter is improper, an anomaly, and a gross abuse of due process in our party. Then, in another paragraph, he says, in good faith and in accordance with Article 9B(5) of the NPP Constitution, any report of any standing committee should duly be submitted to the steering committee for consideration. This was not the case, the statement added.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me just comment on that.
Do that 1
Ma-
minute.
my
1
brother.
minute. Yeah.
So you are saying that who did the Constitutional Committee submit the report to?
They didn't submit to start with.
I can tell you categorically, without any fear of any contradiction, that the chairman of the legal committee submitted copies of the report to the steering committee.
Kwabena Japan says no. Kweku?
Kwabena is right.
Yeah.
You recall the last time we dealt with this matter, I think that was the day Opare Ansa was here. I made a point that I was wondering why the party had a constitutional and legal committee and people were disputing their provisions of our constitutionality or otherwise, and they hadn't made a reference to that body.
Right.
So when I saw the committee's legal opinion, I thought that was the way forward, that they were doing the right thing. Akwamia read the appropriate, relevant provision, that empowers the Constitutional Committee. There is nowhere that it is stated that that committee cannot so moto proceed to interrogate issues and provide profile advice. There's nowhere in their party constitution. I've checked it. On its own, it could do what it did. So the point about the point about no reference had been made to them is actually moot. It's unsustainable. And indeed, there's an example when Jamasi filed his writ in court to try and restrain the party, if you recall, the Constitutional Committee on its own proceeded to court to ensure. It was Mike Quay, Prof, who made all those arrangements. Indeed, I'm told last 2 days, another writ has been filed by 2 members of the party that the 18th October thing is too close and that the party constitution has been violated. Again, it's the same Constitutional Committee on its own that is going to tackle that matter. So there's precedent to show that on its own, it moves.
No, I don't understand that. If the party is sued and there's a legal and constitutional committee, the party is a defendant.
Yes.
And they ought to go there.
Yes.
That one is not be doing it so much.
No,
you have no option.
No, but the general secretary or the chairman appear not to be aware that, look here, this is what we should do. Because first of all, don't forget that the gentlemen are even violating the party's own constitution. You know that.
By
not exhausting the internal matters.
Right.
Nobody is talking about them. So the Constitutional Committee, having a presence of mind and wanting to rescue the party, consistent, don't forget, the Special Electoral College might not even have come off if they hadn't gone to court to vacate that injunction 2 days before. This is a proactive constitutional and legal committee. That's the point I am making. Very proactive, in line with the party's constitution.
But going to court without exhausting the internal conflict resolution mechanisms is not always a breach or violation of the constitution.
Well, the party constitution.
Right, I get that.
Article 3D8. It says not initiate, commence or prosecute any legal proceedings whatsoever against the party or any other member of the party relating to party affairs without first having exhausted the grievance procedure laid down in this constitution in respect of grievances against the party or any other member of the party.
Yes, I'm only saying that there's legal reason to avoid even this without offending the constitution. It's allowed.
Well, but the party's constitution has not been adhered to by those 2 gentlemen, by Jamasi first and this gentleman.
Especially if the complaint they have has to do with the same people who are going to sit on the matter. They can proceed to court without referring to them.
But obviously that's not the situation.
Right, go on.
That's not the situation. But Akwame is right. From my own investigations, on 25th August this year, when the steering committee met, you remember the National Council asked the steering committee to meet with some elders of the party present. I am told on authority that Professor Mike Okwei distributed copies of this legal opinion to all present, including the General Secretary and the Chairman, and Hakman Owusu Ajimai, and Owusu Ejapon, and the National Organizer, the National Youth Organizer, the Women's Organizer, the Treasurer, were all present at that meeting when this legal opinion was distributed openly, and some even started reading it there. It wasn't an order. It's like, so for anybody to suggest that this report was meant to be, purported to be an order for immediate execution, I think the person is misreading the situation. So let's get it clear.
Why would Kobne Japan want to disrespect them?
I don't know. He has to talk for himself. Even though I've spoken to him, he's giving me his side of the story and everything. But again, you see, the point is, there was no publication. This was a leaked report. Let's draw that extension. There was no publication of the legal opinion. As usual, the media intercepted copies. I was a beneficiary of Peace FM's interception on Wednesday. I didn't know. I had just seen excerpts on social media. But the full text I got at Kokoro. It's not a publication, so you cannot accuse. Look, weren't we sitting last week? Didn't we come here with a report of the election petition committee?
Right.
Didn't I come to read this report about the tie, if there was a tie,
right?
And whether presidential? Yes, we intercepted them, and this report was done at the behest of the chairman of the party. Now I'm told people are saying though, but only 3 members of the committee have been sworn in. The other 4, so the committee perhaps is not properly constituted. But read that letter. Look, read this letter. This is dated August 25th, the same day the report was distributed. the chairman of the party was asking the Constitutional Committee to do something for them. This is it. So the issue of only 3 had been sworn in and 4 had not, no. There were 3, but they had been mandated to do a job
No, but
for the party.
Samson, if I may ask a question.
Yes.
Kweku's argument is that there was no publication of the legal opinion.
By the
committee.
He's saying it was a leaked report.
A leaked report.
It was a leaked report.
Yes.
Someone leaked it
Yes.
to the media.
They didn't publish it.
Aren't you aware of that?
They gave it to the members, and some had found its way.
And so it has been published.
Oh yes.
Whether
No.
by the committee or not.
Okay.
It has been published.
I get that point.
Wait,
That's
wait,
fine.
No, wait.
But he's made the
Abraham
point.
Japon's
Yes.
last paragraph. It says a publication of this unsolicited opinion on a purely administrative matter is improper and anomaly and a gross abuse of due process in our party. By
Okay.
whom? Obviously,
By
the
whoever
committee.
leaked it.
No. Then this is not captured here. It's not proper. It is only when you are perceiving the publication as having come from that constituted body that you can say it was improper. But not the media. We have no business doing what you consider proper or improper. No way. When I intercept, I will publish.
I see. But briefly, what do you make of Ameyao's, stepping down?
Well, it's reality checked.
It's reality check.
Yeah, he's just seen that the mathematics, the statistics would not favor him. He's decided to join the winning bandwagon. That's okay. He's entitled to that choice.
I see.
Yeah.
Unlike him, you don't agree that Alan should do anything like that.
It's bold. I think Allah is doing the right thing in line with the party constitution.
Okay.
He has not violated any law, and it's
Right.
a very bold decision. I encourage him to pursue that course.
This show is brought to you by the candid sponsorship of Bank of Africa, the unique banking experience without any stress or headaches, and that's what you need. The bank has unique products tailored to satisfy your corporate and personal banking needs. All you got to do is to call them 0244338226. Bank of Africa, strong as a group and close as a partner. Also, you need Wemplex 400. That is the best dewormer that you can get. Worms are dangerous, therefore you need to use Wemplex 400 to kill them and set yourself free. One tablet of Wemplex 400 kills over 7 different types of intestinal worms. Wemplex 400 can be taken any time of the day and not only at night. That's the advantage you've got. Wemplex 400, your one-stop dewormer for the family. It's available in all pharmacies and licensed shops. Can we hear you?
Well, Samson, I get,
Or NPP matters don't bother you?
sometimes it doesn't, but this one, I'll just make a few points on it because I consider the issues at stake to be very mundane, period. I'm saying mundane for a simple reason. A decision that is taken administratively to appoint people, non-elected officers, into certain positions generates so much controversy.
Okay.
That's where I'm lost. What is the party's constitution saying about appointment of such people?
It says
Why?
neck should
Fine.
do it.
Good.
It's there. It's written there.
So it's NEC.
Yeah.
The issue is, was NEC consulted?
No.
Good. So what do we have to do in the event that NEC was not consulted? You know, when you go by these things, you make procedures simpler so that you can get over some of these harms.
What people don't understand is, how could this take the shape and form that it has taken?
That's why
and
I'm
people
also
are
confused.
using that to say, this is not a party ready for government.
That is the exact point I'm coming to. You cannot deal with these simple, basic issues. And yet you want to mirror these simple, basic issues you cannot deliver or meet on a national scale.
Well, they made it a constitutional dispute.
Well,
Really,
whether
they
it's
are-
constitutional or not, these are simple issues that should
I
be
agree,
dealt
they are
with
simple.
in a simple manner.
I agree, they are
That's it.
simple.
You have precedents. Ever since this party has been in existence, there has been precedents in the appointing of these non-elected officers. What was the precedence? How was it
We
done?
have been shown one precedent by Sam Okujeto. That's what's the name? Perry Okujeto. And it was the general secretary
Who appoints?
who wrote a letter announcing his appointment and stating that he's writing on the instructions of the NEC.
Fine. So you see that there's a precedent. What happened for this precedent to be shunted aside? You know, these are some of the issues that need to be looked at. And for me, it's a big mirror image of us. You know, you hold yourself in readiness to govern a country by having the aptitude and knack to deal with such issues. Look, I keep on saying that Ghanaians are looking for solutions to their problems. And if you proffer the solution to the problem that is time-tested, viable, and can stand the test of time, they'll go for you. But if you continue to dwell at this stage on such basic issues and you can't seem to get over it, they'll have a second look at you and say, no, you are not ready for political office. Look at the issue of Osaya Meya. The constitution was instructive. We hold a super delegates congress to prune down the number because we've had a precedent where we had 17 candidates. And therefore, we want to stop all that. So let's hold a super delegates congress made up of just about 774 people to select the 5 people who can contest the main flag bearership race. That first part has been concluded. You have your 5 people, and everybody is calling on those who have been put in that 5 bracket to step down for one person. What state of lawlessness is this?
But Jogate didn't say anybody called on him to do it. Jogate didn't say anybody called on him to do it.
No, but you see, those
listen, has not said anybody called on him to do it. Adai Nimo is saying he's consulting and he might.
Samson, right after the conclusion of that super delegates congress, the diaspora branch of the NPP, led by the people from China, called on all the rest to leave because Nanado had won overwhelming. But you see, that should not even happen.
Yeah, but that cannot be lawless.
It's lawless.
How?
But you said a constitutional provision that we are going to prune down and bring it to 5. No.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, I haven't concluded on this point. Now, those who are saying Alan or making the appeal, making the appeal to Alan to step down, on what basis are they doing this? 774 versus 140,000.
I agree.
You think Alan can make an impact with 140,000 people voting?
You see, but Kobe.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Sorry. Just 1 minute and then we'll move on.
Problem.
Yeah.
Comrade Champon is saying that people are being lawless. Where's the lawlessness? The withdrawal by Meya, is it lawless? The withdrawal by Jogate, is it lawless? Alan Shermantin himself.
My lawlessness is your inability to deal with the fundamental issues.
It's a call. How can a call on somebody be a lawless? Totally inappropriate. Comrade Champon, don't go there. Now, he's talking about numbers. He says the numbers are 700. It's okay.
It's supposed to be 800.
It's supposed to be 800. And
that's the
total
electoral college.
140,000. But you see, those numbers have pruned down the numbers from 7 to 5. So the views of those 750 people are significant. Number one. Number two.
Was that the intention of your constitution?
No.
That the electoral college determines who goes to
No. But nobody has said that is
all.
the intention of the constitution. What people like me are saying is that looking at the results, that 6 people, when they combine your votes, is a quarter of what one person got. That is the reality. That is what is making all this people step.
And some say it is easier to influence this small number.
Exactly.
Than it is to influence 140,000 plus.
My brother, the 140,000 plus, what percentage do they make of the
Less
vote?
than 10%.
Now, what
5-6%.
That's right.
You don't know my question.
Okay, just sorry, we move on. We move on at this point. Thank you very much. We take a very final break at this point. We return.
Yeah.
We return to go to the commission probing the Black Stars performance at Brazil 2014, and if we can find some little time, attempt to answer the question whether or not it is Kwesi Appiah, the coach, or Kwesi Nyantakyi, the president of the FA, who deserves the sack. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thank you very much. This is Newsfile, your most authoritative news analysis show. And you need to discover your world of limitless possibilities on the internet with MTN iFest this September. Join the celebrations now on the biggest family with the widest 3G coverage in Ghana, and participate in exciting trivias and promotions and enjoy amazing giveaways. Follow MTN on Twitter at MTN Ghana, or like them on MTN Ghana page on Facebook, and catch MTN on Instagram for up-to-the-minute updates on MTN. Watch out for more surprises this internet festive season. So go on, explore the MTN internet with fun as we create, share, inspire, and also say welcome to the new world of MTN. Terms and conditions apply. MTN, everywhere you go. Now, at the World Cup Commission of Inquiry, Presidential Commission of Inquiry, looking into the matters there, it's also brought up, when I saw Create Share, it also brought up a new, thing in town that create, loot, share, and cry. That's what the big men have been doing. But you may say that's unfair, because we need to wait to get to the end of the matter and be able to make definitive conclusions as to what exactly is going on. I'll start here with... No, before I do that, I needed to ask this one last question about the NPP. So how does the NPP go forward from here?
Thank you. I think that the appropriate bodies are stipulated in the Constitution. A meeting of the National Executive Committee should be called immediately, or even the National Council, which is the highest decision-making body, so they can give definitive directions forward. I think that's the simple thing.
Thank you.